What's up? What's up? I'm Nzinga.
And I'm Scott.
And we are Two Americas. And this is Red Flag Laws, and not the kind that Dan Crenshaw likes. We're going to make sure you stay away from the losers, the hoes, the deadbeats, and the pit bulls and pantyhose. So I'm going to talk to the men folk.
I'm going to talk to the ladies.
And we're going to give you advice on how to date, who to date, and who not to date, most of all.
One example per episode. Z, you want to kick it off?
I want to kick this ish off. I'm going to tell you how to spot a pit bull and pantyhose.
You tell.
Yes. So a pit bull and pantyhose, what is that?
From a guy's perspective, this is a vicious, snarling, controlling lunatic describing herself as a lovely female.
Yes. And listen, this can be different levels. So there's some chicks that are kind of controlling. There's some chicks that are super naggy. There's some chicks that are all of the above that Scott just named. The ones that's all of the above, I think they're pretty easy to figure out. I think they're harder to get away from. And the ones that just kind of are naggy or a little bit controlling, a little bit harder to spot, but much easier to get away from because they're not complete lunatics yet.
What I think a lot of fellas are concerned with is how do we spot a pit bull that's trying to disguise itself as a poodle?
You got to look for little things. Some of those things are, we talked before the show, you're at a restaurant and her food doesn't come out right. How does she treat the waitress or the waiter? And women do that with men as well. So that's not the only thing. How does she treat her dad? How does she treat her brothers? How does she treat you if you do something not exactly the way she gave you instructions to do it? Those are the types of things that you have to look for. If she gets pissy because you didn't buy the dip that she wanted for the Super Bowl party, you might want to look into that deeper, and you might want to pay a little bit more attention to that lady and her behavior in group settings. If you say something off color, let's say, because men love off color jokes. If you say something off color, if she hits you, nags you, and berates you in front of the whole group, that's not a woman that you want. A woman of good character will go, what the devil? Inside of her head, and maybe talk to you afterwards, and then you two can talk about it then. Was it actually off color? Did the audience or the group actually like it? And so on and so forth, and you can debate then. Scott and I have actually had these conversations. Actually, Scott has to make sure I'm the one that's not getting obnoxious because I'm the obnoxious one in this group. But I think those are some of the things that you can look for, and if I think of others, I'll put it out there.
As a person who was married to a pit bull, let me tell you, fellas, if you want to spend your life in abject misery, go ahead and let a pit bull into your life, proverbially speaking.
Yes.
Maybe you're a dog lover and you love pit bulls as a breed, but when it comes to a pit bull and pantyhose, that is not a breed that you can tolerate for more than a year or two at a time before it turns into a messy divorce. If these people don't respect you enough to respect your status as the man or the leader of the household, if they're going to come down on you over every little thing because they just cannot relinquish control, that is not a woman that you want to have children with. Run for the hills.
Okay, I've seen couples. I grew up with a couple, and I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it because I think it's important. I've seen couples where the woman is a pit bull and pantyhose, and the whole family ends up miserable because the hierarchy. What Scott and I believe is God made the man the head of the household, and the woman the helpmate, and then the children come after that. And obviously, God is above the man. When you take things out of order from God's order, and you start stacking it differently, you create chaos. And the household cannot be whole if the man isn't leading. And obviously we're talking specifically if you have a controlling woman. The children will go off the rails. The children won't want to be around. They'll come around because they're like, fine, it's Thanksgiving. They won't want to be around. And it could create a lot of insecurities in the children that can last for years and maybe even onto the next generation. Also, you want to talk about, like, if you're dating a woman that's like that right now, I equate that with just taking a really, really sharp machete, grabbing your balls and just going, you're doing it yourself. Like, you could say, yeah, she made me a eunuch, man. She didn't do it. You did it. You don't have to date her. And I've heard people say, man, the sex is good. Think with a different head, brother.
And on to my advice to the ladies.
To the ladies, yeah.
Don't date mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes? Whatever do you mean?
Well, it's just a term that I use for men that use women financially.
Oh my God.
Now, again, most people will look at this sexual dynamic and they will assume that the women will be the ones that are bleeding the men dry. Because that's how it is, folks. They're very expensive. But men can do the same thing to women. And I think with this whole sexual revolution that's taken place and, gender, non-binary, this, that, and the other, and everybody's kind of getting all confused about what their roles are, there are a lot of men out there who are looking at women who have their lives more or less together, who have managed to be successful while single, and they're taking advantage of them.
I've seen it.
So here's the thing you want to watch out for, ladies. You want to watch out for a guy who has a crappier car than you. First off, guys love automotive things. Guys love things in general. So if his car is trash, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a trash man by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a potential warning flag. Another one to look out for is the fact that he doesn't seem to really understand how finances work. He goes to a restaurant and he expects you to pay for it, or he expects to have enough money but no tip for the waiter. These are big warning signs that the person is financially illiterate. Another thing to watch out for is that his clothing doesn't match his demeanor. If he seems like he's a guy who talks a big game about this and that and this operation he's got going on and this thing he's working out with his pals and this entrepreneurial venture, but he's always rolling around in the same 3 outfits, he's broke as a joke and he plans on letting you take care of the credit card bill. These are things you need to really pay attention to. Just think in terms of, what do I do to keep myself financially stable? And if he is not doing exactly the same things or better, kick it to the curb.
If he needs a place to stay all the time.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, that's like a super red flag, but some women don't get it. Like, there's women that are like nurses or whatever, and they will allow their man to be like, yo, I need a place to stay. I could tell the story because I don't think he would care because he's a different man now. But the man that my mother is now engaged to, before the army, before he changed his life and turned his life around, before children and all that stuff, he literally went, like, I guess before dating, it was obviously before dating apps, but it was like where you would call and leave a voicemail to chicks.
Ooh, back in the Stone Age, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, oh, she's a nurse. And he dated her and he knew she wasn't very attractive and she was kind of overweight. He dated her so he had a place to stay.
He's the male version of a dependopotamus.
He was, yeah.
Listen,
he's totally different now, but men do that is what I'm trying to say.
Listen, ladies, I've seen this countless times where a young, beautiful woman gets herself a king who sleeps on her couch and plays video games all day long. That ain't the behavior of a king. That's the behavior of a little baby boy. Don't date mosquitoes. They'll suck you dry.
Boom.
They'll fly along and they'll suck on something else.
Ew.
Anyway.
Sorry. Oh, that wasn't.
Calm down. Anyway, this has been Red Flag Laws. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Two Americans.
Bye.